Welcome back. It's New Comic Book Day, like most Wednesdays. It's not a huge week, but there's some interesting things, so let's take a look. Assorted crisis events. An epic collection for Avengers West Coast. This is about half. Half of this book is some of my favorite Avengers West Coast stories. A lot of John Byrne in here, and then some not John Byrne. But some pivotal stories as relates to Vision and Scarlet Witch, and also Hawkeye and Mockingbird. Some big things happen in that time. Loved that series. Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. Getting close to the end of that. Batman and Robin Year One. This was damage replacement from several weeks ago, so finally available. I'm happy. And there's two covers there. Bring on the Bad Guys. Loki gets his. And there's two covers, three covers, four covers, five covers, because it's Loki. DC Connect, talking about stuff coming out in about 2 months from DC. Of course, the big news is DC KO as relates to Darkseid and such. DC's California Love. That's their seasonal special. And a couple of covers there. DCX Sonic. That's the last issue of that miniseries. DuckTales. Exquisite Corpses did have somebody sign up for this, so now we're just playing catch up. So 2 and 3 on the shelf. Flash. Flash Gordon Quarterly. Gargoyles Demona. G.I. Joe, this is a second print of number 7. And 2 covers there. Gods, One World Under Doom. Of course, it's part of One World Under Doom. If you don't remember Gods, it's fine. Godzilla vs. Boston from the Godzilla vs. America series of one-shots. 2 covers there. Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater. That collects the recent miniseries. Gotham City Sirens, Unfit for Orbit. I believe that's the last issue of that miniseries. And a shiny. Incredible Hulk. IDW previews. Talking about stuff coming out in about 2 months, of course. Iron Man Epic Collection, The New Iron Age. This is some Matt Fraction stuff. Justice League International. This is book 2 of some of the best Justice League stories you ever read. At least I ever read. This is where we get into Justice League Europe. We get the second embassy. Justice League Dark Tomorrow special, and we'll try and block some of that glare. This follows the We Are Yesterday crossover and leads up to some upcoming stuff, of course, Darkseid, and getting a taste of what Booster Gold saw when he went elsewhere in the DC All-In special, I believe is where we're headed. Lucky Devils. Marvel previews, talking about stuff coming out from Marvel in about 2 months. Hey, that looks a lot like Age of Apocalypse stuff. Maybe you should read up on that. Marvel Zombies Black, White, and Blood. This collects the recent miniseries. Mega Man X Timelines. That's a series of one-shots, of course, through time. Monster High World Scare, number 1. Monsters from Mark Spears. Just way too many of those on my shelf, clearly. My Little Pony, the main 5 omnibus. Just a big collection of pony stuff. Nightwing Annual. The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos. Children of the Night continues. Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie's Spring Cleaning. Sonic the Hedgehog. I know it's been tough keeping Sonic on the shelf. This is going to be tough too because there's only one copy, but future's looking bright. So, Space Quest from Space Ghost and Johnny Quest, of course. And there's 2 covers there. Speed Racer gets a new series from Mad Cave, and just a bunch of covers here. And yeah, it's Racer X. Okay, that's it. Spider-Man versus the Sinister 16, written by J. Michael Straczynski and by current favorite artist Phil Noto. So should be fun and hilarity in there. Ultimate Spider-Man. Spider Society, Enter the Spider-Verses. This collects the recent miniseries. Spider-Man and Wolverine. An ash can for the upcoming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 3. That will be marked up and on the shelf. Terminator. I believe that's, no, not quite the last issue of that series. Thundercats Lost. Titans Annual. Titans Annual by Phil Jimenez, a longtime favorite Titans and other stuff artist and writer. And that is a lovely Joelle Jones cover. That's going to be fun stuff no matter what. So, Ultimates, Vision and Scarlet Witch. Werewolf by Night gets a new miniseries, not bagged for your safety, so keep that in mind. What if Goofy became Spider-Man? More of the Disney Marvel crossovers. What's the furthest place from here? This hasn't been on the shelf yet. It was a special order, but it's going to be on the shelf because that's what happens these days. Savage Wolverine. That's a new miniseries for Wolvie, of course, and there's 2 covers there. And then one extra thing. And I'm also going to grab a Marvel comic on the way over here. You'll see in a minute. X Factor Omnibus. X Factor by Peter David Omnibus. Again, I cannot speak highly enough of the comics that Peter David has written that I've enjoyed. This was a crazy time for the X-Men family, but even weirder with the art change in this. It's Larry Stroman's art did not fit into the X-Men mold, and between Peter David's writing and Larry's art, this was a weird book, but it was fun, it was crazy, and it was just so good. And yeah, of course, this is for me. There's also a crossover with Incredible Hulk, which Peter David was always also writing at the time, and a couple other things scattered in. This is the month or the week or whatever where Marvel pays tribute to Peter David, who died a couple of weeks ago. This was a lovely thing with quotes from Gary Frank, who was one of Peter's artists on Incredible Hulk, and Kurt Busiek, another writer. It is just tough when these guys disappear, and life hadn't been good for a while, so we were sort of happy that part was over. But here are some comics that people are aware of. Of course, Incredible Hulk 340, which everybody's there for the Todd McFarlane art, but that's fine. Wolvie and Hulk fighting is just, crazy good. Incredible Hulk 420 was an emotional masterpiece and had everything to do with HIV and AIDS, and a powerful statement early on. Of course, Spider-Man 2099 was his creation. He had written some spectacular stuff in the good old days, and then of course the X Factor stuff. He's going to be a voice that's missed. He was also a very highly credited novelist. He wrote articles about the industry. It's a big deal. He's a big deal, and I'm very happy that Marvel did something in the books for people to see. So, yeah, and that's everything for this week. If you see something you like, let me know. I will try and get it for you. And that's about it. So, subscribers, pick up your books. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.